you said something earlier about the way that kids pick up on what their parents are doing, like how their parents are. And for most of human history, if not evolution, you could argue that was the smart thing, right? That kids were really parent replacements. That they were growing up to replace the adults in
Yes.
pretty limited tracks of functionality in the way societies worked, right?
Right.
And we still have that kind of mentality going on to a significant extent, even though that's long past.
Totally.
These kids are going to grow up in a world that is. I use a video of taken from an old movie where this guy is just blown away excited as he's talking to his girlfriend a city away on a telephone. Wow, isn't this amazing that we can talk like this? You can hear my voice, And that seems so quaint and so crazy and so, like to us today, right?
Right.
And then juxtapose that with the 6 or 7 year old or even teens that are put in front of a rotary phone and they don't know what the hell to do with the rotary phone.
No idea what to do with it, I know.
Right? And as crazy as all that seems to us, in a couple of generations, if not in just one generation, those people are going to look back at what we think meta reality is and virtual reality and think that it's like that guy on the telephone.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
It's moving so fast
and accelerating.
It's
kind of like the universe, moving so fast and accelerating.
Meantime, we're educating as if we're educating them for 20 years ago.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Really is true. It's. I used to, when I was running a school, there would be these admissions open houses. It was an independent school, so people paid, came. So you had to it was a little bit. You had to sell, and we were a young school, and not yet known. We were maybe we were an afterthought, and if my kid doesn't get into another school, maybe they'll, I guess, and go here. So, and I used to frame it as like this. I know you're looking for schools, but this ought to be the first place. This ought to be your first choice. And they would chuckle because there's so many fancy schools out there, and we were not fancy. And I would say, well, really, because and I would go through this thing about, look, your kids are going to move into a world and get jobs that don't exist today and won't exist necessarily 10 years after they've been trained to do it. And so the idea that you're going to go to a school that teaches your kid all this information and gets them into that's not preparing your kid for the life they're going to lead. You need a school that's going to give them that, what am I going to do in this new world? If they're armed with that, what do you do when you have no idea what to do? Exactly.
One of my taglines that's kind of the key on one of my websites is nothing's more important to our children's futures than how well they can learn when they get there.
Yes, exactly.
Right, and if you deconstruct that, there's nothing more important to how well they can learn as they get there than their faith and confidence in learning. Mm-hmm. We've got to stop thinking that what we think they should learn or how we think they should learn is more important than how well they can learn, meaning how well they participate and their faith and confidence in learning. It's like we need to be adapting and regulating as if our point is to pull their faith and confidence through this ladder up into proficiencies, not for ignorant of that, just taking them over these steps of proficiencies.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
And so the next protocol. Giving them the next protocol.
We're not just a little off. We're 180 degrees out of phase.
Completely off. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.